Balatalani to visurai tuelani na komiti to yao to le to kina na wakanda na to sabo itu ko Malawi New Zealand o Mark wata ke Mr. Raju Roy Rosa que le voy a usar que entonces tú me viste no wate na nona valikana ta mo vino na tai vole no to wita mai au na kereke no mundo mo sama barai na lem tel mga ber na lubemni romana romai tu mitu ke sama tata dag ber no mo barai dinangani sa te butal juga na matan tu le go no le go na kana mo mulu taki na wa tawi ni non rosa or na ngwane mana veneno kara mai vultu ke to wa na ke Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm honored by the ceremonies of welcome. I acknowledge the presence here of Mr. George Shuraj. Last time we met, he was one of the vice presidents of Sodelpa, and we were together in that party before he came out. Acknowledge the thinkers behind the invitation to get me to come and be your guest over the next few days.
Thank you, sir.
My arrival coincided with a very important celebration going on in Queen Elizabeth Barracks and other military camps in Fiji. And I suppose it'll be also celebrated where our soldiers are serving at the moment. Yesterday, the 23rd of June, is celebrated by the Fiji Military Forces as the Infantry Day. It's a day on which we remember the 23rd of June, 1943, when Corporal Sefane Sulewalu died, was killed in action in Maraka, in Bougainville, the Solomon Islands, in the Second World War as part of the 3rd Battalion of the Fiji Infantry Regiment, an action that won him the most prestigious Victoria Cross.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's also very significant. One of the leaders that encouraged me to come, invited me to come, Sailelea from Yarata, where Suganevalu came from. It's a big coincidence and a pleasure to be here with you from yesterday. And today we also remember that it is the first time a public holiday has been declared for a significant day in Maoridom. Matariki will be celebrated as a public holiday in New Zealand. It is significant when we think about what peoples in the world are going through. The great Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, broke up because the ethnic groups in the USSR wanted to be themselves. They first broke up and agreed that they would become a Commonwealth of Independent States. The Soviet republics, which are now independent, and right now One of them is fighting against Mother Russia. They were once one. There will always be that cry of the indigenes of the world to be recognized as different units with different characteristics. But over the years, there have been fluidity of the movement of peoples. On the 14th of May, I was in India. There was no celebration in India. Maybe they do not even recall that on that day, in 1879, the first shipment of indentured laborers landed in Fiji.
Thank you, sir.
Because there was no celebration, I went to the military cemetery in New Delhi and paid my respects to the many, many heroes who laid down their lives when they were part of the British Empire in the First World War and the Second World War before India became independent in 1948.
Thank you, sir.
It was the least I could do to acknowledge the great deeds of that great nation and its people, its soldiers, fighting for the freedom of the world. We were part of that. And on that day, I remembered the arrival of the Gurmits into Fiji. They have come to build Fiji up to what we are. We never knew how difficult it would have been for them until we hear reports back from some of our young people who are coming across from Fiji to Australia and New Zealand for the seasonal labor movement that have recently come up. There have been complaints, there have been words of telling of hardships. So we're going through right now in Fiji sort of a period of reverse indentured laborers. Farm owners submit their requirements and put their indent for how many workers, which are sent to our National Employment Center in Fiji, and they look for the numbers required by the farm owners in Australia and New Zealand. And they go back and get those that have been registered to be sent over. And we are thankful and we're grateful for the good relationship we have had, we have enjoyed with Australia and New Zealand. Dates back to our colonial days, proven through the world wars, and have sustained more difficult periods until now. We are very grateful, we are very thankful. All those of you who are here and are working here, we are grateful for the remittances that come to Fiji. In the last 2 years alone, during the difficult time of COVID-19, the difficult time of the Russo-Ukrainian war, Fijians of the Fijian diaspora living abroad, living away from Fiji, sent back in remittances $1.5 billion. That's a big impact on our small economy. Bigger when you consider that that money goes directly to your families. And we are most grateful. If any of you do not have any families in Fiji, I'll give you my address. You can send them money. But we thank you. We thank you most sincerely. A lot of this movement of labor and workers depends on how well you behave in your host countries. If we were known, or Fiji was known to supply bad elements into the labor force of New Zealand, always ending up in court for the day after payday, violence, even domestic violence, they would not be open to receiving workers from Fiji. So I'm here as a past leader of Fiji
No, sir.
and possibly a future leader of Fiji.
No,
I want to urge you all and encourage you, please obey the laws of this country. Be good citizens of New Zealand, even if you're only here as on worker permits or as permanent residents. You are here. Obey the law of the land that is hosting you. Be good citizens of this country. Many have come to play sports. Some have come for education and have stayed. Some have done very well. One became Governor General. What's there to hold the rest of you back? You can do it. You can do it. Some of you may have bad memories of your departure from Fiji. Hopefully we can change the nation so that it's a changed one that will welcome you back from the one that sent you away. There is a movement for that. That movement has resulted in the formation of a political party. I lead the party. You know the name of the party. I'm not here to ask you to vote for us. I'm just here to tell you that we have that party. It is an alternative. I know you belong to different parties and have supported different parties in the past. The party I lead is one of the new ones. But we've been doing very well at the polls that have come out. But they are not important polls. The most important poll will be the one held on polling day. And I'm here to encourage you. Please participate in the selection of your government. In order to do that, you have to register as voters. There have been some changes in rules governing the registration. Please do not worry about the changes. Just go and register. And make sure you vote on your voting day. Most of you will be posting postal ballots. So please stay awake, stay aware of what is required of you. We need your support. We need you to select your government. In the last elections, 181,000 elected George Suraj and my party. Our party collected 181,000 votes. And we won 42% after the smaller party votes had been discarded. 42% of the votes gave us 21 seats. Fiji First, after all the distribution of numbers and percentages, because of our proportional representation concept of the Dehan system that we now use, the 50.02% gave them 27 seats. I do not know what kind of math that was, but that's the way it is calculated. The National Federation Party that won more than 7% of the vote only got 3.
No, sir.
which if they had gotten 6% would have entitled them to 3. And I thought 7.8 would have given them one more. That's not the way it went, eh?
No, no.
But 172,000 voters did not vote.
Yes, sir.
We got 181. 172 didn't even bother to vote. That was 27% of the registered voters. We gave away our right to choose our government. Today I met a girl in Radio New Zealand studio. She didn't interview me. I just asked her, where are you from? I'm from Greece. No. You're still being blamed. She said, yes, I know. It was the people of Greece that adopted the system of government where people were represented in their Senate and their Congress and their parliament. It was in Greece. After the Battle of Marathon, where a messenger, his name was Pedophilus, ran 26 miles and a few hundred yards to deliver the message that the army of Athens, the capital of Greece, had just defeated the mighty army of Persia that was invading that part of the world at the time. They were defeated by the small army of Athens, or Athenian army, small, very small one, but defeated the big one of Persia. And this chap ran 26 miles and a few hundred yards to say that they had won. So they defended their system of government they called democracia. And democracy has taken many forms and many turns. But we have our own brand of democracy in Fiji right now. But whether it's this way or that form or this form, it depends on the choice that the people make.
No, sir. No.
Because it's the government of the people, by the people, for the people. So I'm here to ask you, please register, and on polling date, please go and vote.
No.
Thank you all very much for what you're doing. You're contributing to New Zealand, and you're contributing to Fiji. Recently, our Prime Minister and our Minister of Defense have been working or having meetings with some other people who are worried about the development of nuclear weapons in countries in our region. Some of you who are old enough will remember that we went through this before. During SALT 1, SALT 2, SALT 3, strategic arms limitation talks. You know, New Zealand was very active in promoting a nuclear-free Pacific. It's still going. While we're talking about nuclear weapons and development, etc., Fiji is struggling to put food on the table for so many of our citizens.
No, sir. No, sir.
Let's get to the basics first.
Yeah.
Life. We would like to be part of the change, that we will refocus on people. That's why we have called ourselves the People's Alliance.
No.
The friendship of peoples, for the people, by the people.
No.
That's who we are. That's what we're here for. So thank you all very much for coming along to hear me today. If you're not going to be there tomorrow, well, you've heard that message today. Those who will come tomorrow, sorry, you can bring your earplugs because you'll get the same message tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, sir.
Please enjoy the evening, enjoy your stay in New Zealand, but never forget Fiji. You got from the Tala Tala tonight. I'm glad that you can be happy, you can be here. I told the people in Sydney a few weeks ago, I'm so glad that you are expressing your joy freely. The people of Israel who were in exile said, how can we express our joy in a strange land when we know ours is in ruins? But I hope you can enjoy yourselves. I pray that you will.
No.
I bring greetings from your relatives at home. When I meet the Maori king, I can only say that I bring greetings from my chief, Turambala Tirkau.
Yes.
I wish I was able to have told him or be able to tell him when I see him, I bring greetings from the chiefs of Fiji. The chiefs of Fiji no longer have their council. So I only approach Turambala Tirkau, ask him to give me his blessings, to take his greetings to the king. And he's agreed. Next time I come, I'll bring greetings to all the chiefs of Fiji. As you heard from the Semsiamu word, we bring the Semsiamu from our president, from our vice president, the household of the Wunivalu of Burmasang and Rewa, Ronaulu Matetin. Another vice president, Billy Singh of the Kundan Singh family. Another vice president, Rati Song Abin, Nakambuta, Tikamba, Mbau. We have now 3 deputy party leaders. Whanau Kamila, Linda was here, and Dan Lobendar. We also have one of the provisional candidates with us, Cecil Brown, of formerly banking fame, one of the senior managers in our banks. I say banks because he worked in quite a few banks at home and abroad. Who else do we have here? And we have Ratukil Pati Malalambure, one of yours. You sent him to Fiji to be interviewed. He was selected as our deputy national campaign manager. Long-term supporter. I don't know whether he's supporting the party or just no, not Papi, not Papi. That's one. Yeah. Our party, Colonel retired Secretary Sarewari. And with me, Sulweti, 47 years of marriage. For 46.5 years, she was Sulweti Ramuka. Now with a new card which I have in my pocket, she's Sulweti Rama Maibuna. But I'm not going to send her back to Bo. So we come in and we saw another card, eh? Say that, right? Yeah. Don't worry. We saw another, we saw another tutu. Rendin tahu kalau jangan ada go, ada. But for that election, very important election, at the end of this year, make sure you have the right card with the right name. God bless you all. Never live.